Welcome to News Now Alberta. This is Special Ed. Today we're looking at a story where a judge unlawfully entered a house to search it without a warrant, without anything. She thought she could do it just because she was a judge.
This is some breaking news. You get to hear it first. Do you remember this case, the family court judge search case? Well, now it's over for good.
Hey guys, I need you off my property, please. Hey, you ain't allowed on my property. The only ones allowed right now is the judge and the deputy. Step off the property.
Yeah.
Step off the property. I need a search warrant. You won't get in my house without a search warrant.
Oh, yeah, I will. Are you recording this?
Yes, ma'am.
Take his phone.
Judges do not search houses. Judges do not search anything. Well, it's time once again to celebrate in the traditional fashion, because I'll tell you exactly what happened and how it went down, but we have now settled this case. The defendants have agreed to pay my client $200,000 in order to avoid going to trial.
We won because we weren't one. We are the people. Freedom is scary, but not free.
This is the case where we sued the West Virginia family court judge. She was denied judicial immunity in a rare ruling from the federal court. The judge appealed it to the Fourth Circuit. We had oral arguments there a couple months ago.
Now former West Virginia family court judge Louise Goldston led the search and seizure of property in my client's private home over his strenuous objection and repeatedly threw threats to have him arrested if he did not allow the search party to conduct the search that it did.
I think that when you say she has been disciplined and stuff, it is not something in her favor for asserting judicial immunity here. Rather, it's something that would suggest that she's not entitled to judicial immunity for these acts.
And we won before the Fourth Circuit, creating new case law on when judicial immunity can be denied in a civil lawsuit against a judge.
Now, this judge clearly overstepped her boundaries, and she lost in every court and everything she tried to do to stop this lawsuit. She went in with the defendant's ex-wife, and the defendant's ex-wife basically got to pick and choose what she wanted out of the house. This is clearly overstepped. I love this lawyer. Every time he wins, he lights his cigar with $100 bills. That's pretty awesome.
After we won before the Fourth Circuit, it went back to the trial court, and a jury trial was scheduled for January 9th, so in just a few weeks. This is some of the video footage that the jury was going to be shown at the trial in January, and based on that, the jury would get to determine an amount of damages to award against the judge.
Your motion's denied. It's not timely filed.
I need a search warrant. You won't get in my house without a search warrant.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Ma'am, step off. I don't need you in my land. Please go that way. Please go away.
He's entitled to be here. Now, you're either going to let me in that house or he's going to arrest you for direct. Are you recording this?
Yes, ma'am.
Take his phone. You're not allowed to record this.
Don't take my phone, sir.
Recording too. Turn off your phones. I'll take you to jail if you don't turn them off. Do you understand that?
Your phone's not on, ma'am.
Why she holding it?
Yeah, why is she? Put it up. Give him the phone or you're going to be arrested.
I can record on my
You
land.
cannot.
Again, the judge overstepping her boundaries, saying that he can't film on his own land or he's going to go to jail. He can't stop them from going unlawfully into his house or he will go to jail. I wish that guy had his lawyer with him. He should have had a lawyer with him when he was trying to defend his home.
You can have the other one. Take that one.
Here, go take it.
Just set it right there. We'll get everything when we leave. I'm happy to take my shoes off. Woo! Woo! That's cold.
Well, he's not.
Huh?
Yes, those are.
Take them.
Control 130.
It's just like to order him to follow the rules, Judge.
Judge,
Hey, I just came by
I'm gonna ask you to be quiet.
the backside of Lowe's on the
Okay. What else do you think
looks
is
like
weird?
they got a
And then you
forever
have
MBA there.
in this closet. This is where we kept them.
I don't need her to do the
Pop kids on the pop test at the Lowe's entrance.
Get them.
The red one's mine.
Fuel boxes on the pop test by the Lowe's entrance.
Can I set these?
Got 10-4. I could tell, looked like they were outside looking at the running the rear end of the vehicle.
The CDs out. Show in there, pick the ones you want, and if you let them.
Yeah, it's like pick the ones you want. I don't care. I'm the judge. He can't say anything.
Like Santa's font.
Well, the big news is that facing that jury trial, the defendants have decided to settle. So we have settled. Remember that in a federal civil rights lawsuit, also called a Section 1983 case, the reason it's called Section 1983 is because that is the federal statute enacted by Congress in the 1870s that allows us to sue our government officials if they violate our federally protected rights. Then if we win, we get an assessment of damages from a jury and also our reasonable attorney's fees and expenses. So in this case, although we did get other relief in this case, I mean, we got the judge impeached, we got the judge disciplined from the West Virginia Supreme Court, we got a West Virginia Supreme Court order in our favor, we got a U.S. Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals order in our favor, and the only remaining issue to be decided was the award of money damages, which is ultimately all you can get at the end of the day in these cases. So that was the question. Are we proceeding towards a trial where a jury can determine the amount of the award, or do we try to reach some sort of settlement? In this case, that's what we did. We reached a settlement. What was the settlement amount? Well, you just watched that video. If you were one of the 8 citizens that are sitting on the jury and you watched that video and you're told that that was a violation of Matt Gibson's Fourth Amendment rights, that this was an illegal search of his home, an illegal seizure in his home by somebody from the government acting under color of law, what is the amount of damages that you're going to award against that individual? Well, sometimes that's very difficult to guess what that's going to be, because we can't walk into a trial and say, you know what, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we think this is worth $1 million or $500,000, whatever. You can't say that. All you can do is just basically beg for some amount of money. You can't even suggest what it is. So you don't know if the jury's going to award you $5. You just don't know. So what was the settlement amount? At the end of the day, the defendants agreed to pay $200,000 to my client in exchange for settling this case and avoiding this going to the jury to see what the jury would have done.
I think $200,000 wasn't enough for them breaking into his house, taking his stuff. Like, it should have been a lot more.
So am I happy with that amount? Yes, of course I'm happy with that amount, or I wouldn't have recommended to my client that we accept that. And here's why. What is that number based on? Just $200,000 out of thin air. Believe it or not, it's not even based on what a jury might award for the government illegally going inside your home, because traditionally juries don't award much money for that, especially in West Virginia, where people don't have a lot of money. They might award you $1. They might award you $500, maybe $5,000. I don't know. Here's what's important. These types of cases, there's a federal statute, 42 USC 1988, that says if you establish that the government violated your federally protected rights, you get, even if the jury awards you $1, you get to collect your reasonable attorney's fees and expenses. So even if a jury awards $1, that number very well could be in the end of the 6 figures. And that's what would have happened here. So as you know, if you've been following this case, the Institute for Justice took over the appellate work. Once it went to the Fourth Circuit, they took over and they did all the briefing. They handled the oral argument and did just an absolutely excellent job on the case. And that alone, just the value of their services was 6 figures itself. And that's not even including all the time that I had in it. Even though I wasn't being paid by my client throughout this, I was still keeping track of my time, which is what we do. And if we win, then I get to go to the judge afterwards and say, all right, here's all my time, and this is the hourly rate that I believe is reasonable for, this sort of work, this sort of specialization. And so they were looking at a huge attorney fee bill, basically, and that then was used to benefit my client. So instead of having the client just roll the dice with the jury and maybe they get $5, then the lawyers all get paid, this is many times, almost all the time, better for the client, because then they get to make the decision about what they get. They get the money, and then however they split it with the lawyers is up to them. So I believe it was a fantastic result. I'm happy with it. My client is happy with it. Other questions people may have: who pays it? Does the judge pay it personally? Well, here the defendants were the judge individually, so she was always on the hook individually. Additionally, the Raleigh County Sheriff's Department, the county itself, was still in the case under a Monod claim by virtue of the fact that they had bailiffs participating with this activity and a bailiff in this particular situation. So they were still on the hook going to trial. So they're paying some portion of it as well. And this is what's called a global settlement. So in these situations, we generally are negotiating just with the defendants collectively. So we say, all right, if you're willing to pay 200 grand, I don't care how you apportion it between yourselves. That's between you. That's between you. If you can together come up with that amount, however you want to pay it individually, then we will accept that. And that's what happened here. So I'm not sure exactly how that is apportioned. Is it coming from insurance? Yeah, all these are coming from insurance. And before you express concern for the taxpayers getting the shaft here, that is not what federal law provides. That's not what we provide. That's not what the federal courts provide. That is between your government officials and the voters. That is their decision. That's your government's decision to do that, to cover the liabilities of their employees who are acting under color of law. There's no law or nothing we could do to prevent insurance companies from just dropping out after the fact and saying, all right, you got a $10 million verdict. I don't think we're going to pay that today. And that still would leave liability on the individual defendants, in this case, the judge. So I really want to thank, and my client wants to thank, the Institute for Justice for grabbing this case and just running with it and coming out with this fantastic result, the case law on judicial immunity that we have here. And so if you look in the description below, you'll see a donate link for the Institute for Justice. And they didn't just work on this case. I believe they have like 100 cases now across the country. Many of them are fighting judicial immunity and qualified immunity and absolute immunities that prosecutors have. And this is a good fight. If you believe in cases like this and many other different civil liberties cases, take a look at their website, Institute for Justice. Use my custom donation link so that they see how much my audience has contributed to this fight for civil rights. And in particular, I want to thank Patrick Giacomo and Anya Bidwell, who personally worked on this case, among others at the Institute for Justice. Remember, our rights do not end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.
Now, he was lucky to get Institute for Justice on his side. They basically give you free lawyers and free services. It's all by donation. So when he wins, he can donate whatever he wants to the Institute, if he wants to donate. And of course, he has to pay this lawyer that started off everything. This lawyer, a lot of times, won't get paid until you win. So I think that he did well for himself. The money should have been more, should have been between 500,000 and $1 million for every right that was violated. This was crazy how many rights this judge and these cops violated. What do you think of this? Let me know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.